Welcome back to our Tuesday trade day. Yeah, trade day. We cannot let it go, this trading stuff. And there is a particular reason why we do today a short, quick session, more or less a quick session. We will go to Shepherd's Rest. Buy a load, what's there, and then we will bring it back to Stanton, and that will be done for today, because in this particular patch we don't do mass trading, we just do a little bit of trading because we can't do anything else. But what does that mean? We can't do anything else. We tried. Can you imagine? There is some sort of an event going on, yeah, the frontline storyline. Frontier fighters. The frontier fighters, yeah, a common enemy for the citizens, for prosperity, and the headhunters. And the showdown with the fight against the frontier fighters is separated in 3 phases. The recon, that what is going on right now. Then phase 2 will be the siege, whatever that is, but that will probably start next week, we don't know. And the phase 3 would be the takedown, and rumors say that the takedown will be, your contract will be take down a Polaris, RSI Polaris, and that alone implies that you need to have a crew, not only a crew to man one ship, no. You need to have a crew in multiple ships in order to take down a Polaris. Not any Polaris, a specific Polaris. And this Emilia Boyd, yeah, she sounds some sort of desperate. And it's never good to fight somebody who is desperate, because desperate people have nothing to lose. But what is the thing for us? Yeah, what do we get out of it if we want to fight against the frontier fighter? We can participate either in the Citizen for Prosperity faction or the Headhunters, and they offer us both. We can do both, and we, of course, as the Citizens for Prosperity, not because we are part of the cult, no, but Citizens for Prosperity offers us more opportunities for trading, and that's why we work for or with Citizens for Prosperity. That is pure self-interest, for that matter. But then we thought, okay, we looked at the rewards we will get if you achieve, yeah, the requirements, and we saw that we will get some sort of a jumpsuit of the Citizen for Prosperity, and the jumpsuit is absolutely not worth to grind for, to be honest. And when we look at the headhunters, they also have some sort of a, not a jumpsuit, but a jacket, all in red. That would be something for Nomada, but not for me. So we did that, and as you can see, we are halfway through, a little bit above half. It wouldn't do much more, yeah. There are contracts you can do that will give you 100 points, and that would mean that we need to grind, what is it, 7 times. We need to grind 7 contracts, 71 contracts, which we do not have available here in Pyro. And yeah, we are some sort of sick and tired of doing all over again the very same sorts of contracts. And what kind of contracts do you have if you do these hunt frontier fighters? Either you need to go to a location and find missing persons, or you need to go there and take down an enemy person. And depending on the contract, you will have three levels, 24k, 44k, and 41k in contract. And regarding to the reward, you also get according different points. So the 71k contract will give you 100 points, and the lesser, of course, less. We know there is one, probably the 44k will give you 75 points, and the 24 probably 50. We have no idea. We didn't really care. We just repeated all over again. But that what does that mean? You would need to do 15 times these 71K contracts. You can give some variation in it, and you will say, okay, in each orbit we will do it. RCorp, Stanton, RCorp, Hurston, and whatnot. But the problem with the 71K contracts is the location is somewhat of heavily guarded. Yeah, with either one missile turret, you need to fly fast in order to bypass the missile, or you have another location that is surrounded with normal AA turrets. And if you do not have a ship that is proper equipped to be either fast enough, skilled enough to get in fast, land fast, exit the ship, do the contract, and then take off again and leave without getting shot. Because if you have a small ship that would be fast enough, the shields are weak and you will probably stand 2 shots and you will explode. And if you have a bigger ship like we have, the Paladin for example, and I think that is the reason why they actually made this thing, they want to test, they want to have data with the Paladin or from the Paladin how it will make out in the field. And we can say the Taurus is basically the same, but the difference between the constellation Taurus and the Paladin is the Paladin, you can make it solo, but the Taurus, the Paladin, you need to be a crew of 2. Someone needs to man the turret, and then you can basically fly above the facility. Yeah, really, we tried that. You can fly above the facility and you can shoot down with the remote turret. From the co-pilot, you can shoot down all the turrets, all 5, if they spawn properly. But most of the time, they didn't really spawn properly, and that is something that pissed us off. Yeah, you fly there, you take down the turrets, then you land, and then you will get shot from another turret that just spawned in afterwards or while you were landing. It wasn't there before, it just spawns in. That is weak. Yeah, that is weak. But that is just one thing. Yeah, we can say this is like a rich people's problem. But what way more deeply concerned us is the lagginess and the bugginess of these contracts. There are some contracts where you need to retrieve. That is something what you always need to do. It doesn't matter what kind of contract you take from this Frontier Fighters thing. You always need to retrieve a tablet. Yeah, so datapad, it's the official name. You always need to. But in order to be able to retrieve the datapad either needs to spawn in and would need to be carryable in order to give the system the check-in of accomplish the step of the task. And sometimes you see the tablet, you cannot grab it, no, you cannot interact and say carry it, no, but what you can do is open up the inventory and drag and drop it into the inventory. That would work. You can deliver that tablet to the freight elevator, but the contract itself didn't register that you actually collected that pad because you didn't carry. And that happened too often, way too often, that you cannot carry the tablet, so there is no check-in. The other thing is, too many people do this sort of contracts, and it might be that another player ran there to that location, shut down all NPCs, and as well as your target, that target that you need to take down in order to take the tablet. But you do not see that one. You do not have the marker of the dead body anymore because someone else shut it down. Yeah. So there is basically no chance for you to actually accomplish this contract. The other thing is, that spawning, especially missing person contracts, they didn't really work properly. And exactly that non-working contracts we encountered now after what do we have now? October? After 10 months. After 10 months, we did contracts for this FOMO event, and we got pissed off hard because the stupid fuck doesn't work. And exactly that non-work, that bugginess, that is the reason why we stopped doing contracts at all. Because it just don't work. And when you consider that Star Citizen now in October, year 13 begins. Year 13 of development begins in October 2025, and they are still not capable of providing contracts, missions, quests, call it whatever, that actually work. And with actually work, we mean not, sometimes there are bugs. No. We mean they actually work. You always stumble over something that doesn't work. In the year 13, the most basic aspect of basically every video game is doing some quests, doing some missions, doing some contracts, as they call it in Star Citizen, and they're still not capable of actually deploying any sort of contracts that work 100%, no doubt. That is the reason why we don't do contract, because we do not want to waste our time for stupid fuck, and especially not for FOMO events that doesn't work properly. I mean, we did the resource drops on multiple accounts, and it was tedious work, but we did. We are so not interested in CIG. We know that you do not develop a video game. We know it. And we have no hesitation to talk about it, to point that out, that you do not develop a video game. Because if you would do, you would make sure that the stuff actually works. And we do not mean that, maybe we can implement some contracts. Let's do some contracts, and then you deploy the contract and it doesn't work. No. We are on the year 13 and you're still not able. And we started in July 2024. That is more or less 1.5 years ago. And back then, there were these delivery missions, like this package delivery boy mission. And when you have a starter ship, like the CEO Mustang, that was contracts that we actually could do with the ship, because there is some small compartment where we could put boxes into it. But these contracts were so fucking bugged, most of the time they didn't work. Some of them did, but most of the time those contracts to work were the small ones that didn't get us much money. And back then, the only one goal we had is grinding for money to buy a particular ship that gives us a particular gameplay. And it took us 2.5 months playing daily 8 hours, and on the weekends even more, in order to get that ship, because money had value and you need to grind hard to get money. But with the bugginess contracts, as soon as we got the ship, we didn't care about contracts anymore, because we had then an opportunity to make money without contracts. And that even manifested harder as soon as they deployed Alpha 4.0. As soon as we had enough money, and the particular ships we needed to have a certain gameplay to make money without contracts, we stopped doing contracts. We are so not interested in doing this buggy fucking shit. And to be quite fair, right, this is early access. That means it is still in development, obvious. But if CIG deploys freight elevators outside of hangars, and 1 year later, they organize an event that has the crucial points of freight elevators, And then they start to acknowledge, oh, maybe we have a problem with the freight elevators. Goddamn fucking idiots. Since you deployed freight elevators in 324, there ever had been problems with freight elevators. That was an obvious thing. And when you go and look into issue console, you'll see that. A lot of people opened a ticket in the issue console regarding the elevators. And sometimes, yeah, if I don't know how many people need to have the same issue, 100? I mean, there are supposedly 5 million players, and 100 is not much. But if only 99 people tell you that there is a problem, then you are not aware that there is a problem. And that is a problem, that you are so stupidly annoying that you deploy stuff and just say, we do not need to test because we are our early access, that is open testing, public testing, and the people will test for us. Yeah, I mean, that is a strategy. But if you don't take it seriously when people open up tickets and you say, yeah, we need to have 100 tickets in order to look into it, but crucial elements of game function, yeah, if you will say that, doesn't work, you have to look into it even if it's just 99 people. And a year later, you deployed an event, heavily event. We can say the distribution worked, the contracts most time worked regarding of spawning boxes, but the elevators were fucking bugged as hell. And you didn't know that, you didn't acknowledge that up until people cried out for the shit. And that is disappointing. Your behavior isn't worth 1 billion, yeah, billion. That is 1,000 millions. Isn't worth, to be honest, isn't worth. Yeah, it's not complaining, it's just acknowledgement of pure design, poorly, yeah, poorly designed stuff. I mean, we don't talk about bugged out elevators. No, we know players can damage elevators, and you should know that. And you partially acknowledge that players are able to damage elevators, but you haven't figured out how they do it. You do not know why they do it. I mean, during the event was quite obvious. There were the griefers. Yeah, the griefers made it most of the time happen that the elevators didn't work. And then there were the players who usually don't do boxes, don't do hauling. They also damaged these elevators. And even we did. Even we do trading. We use this freight elevator quite a lot, and even we did damage the freight elevators. And the only one thing that you come into mind was limit the amount of box heights on the freight elevator for damage prevention. Okay, it's a strategy, you can do that. But you didn't really acknowledge the actual problem. The actual problem is that we player bases, we are allowed to damage the elevators. And you can fight against symptoms and implement a child and parents control, would that be the term? Or look at this new feature of tractor beaming. Yeah, this parental control. So you just implemented that we only can load one box height into the elevator pads. That is fighting against symptoms. It had nothing to do with actually find the root cause. Oh, English, we are tired. The root cause why the elevators actually doesn't work. And we pointed that out in global chat, that we, the player bases, we are the ones who damaged these elevators. And most players in the global chat denied that. No, it's CIG that allows us. No, it's not that CIG actually allows it. It is that CIG just simply doesn't care that we can do that. Because they say, and this is crucial, Caesar says, if you want to damage the elevators that we provided, go ahead, damage it, because we simply don't care if the elevators don't work. You will have now the gameplay if you damage the elevators. And that is some sort of true, right? And we know CIG is a Brit. No, it's not a Brit, it's a UK organization. And if you don't know the Blue Bloods, and we do not talk about the police, no, we talk about the Blue Bloods, what they have in mind with us people, then you will see and can notice what they actually are looking for. And that is the responsibility that comes with us or to us, that lasts on us. And if we are not willing to be responsible on our actions, not because we fear consequence, no, but if we do not take care about the actions we do, then either we will continue damaging elevators because we simply don't believe that CIG actually wants to fix that shit that they provide. Yeah. Maybe we do wrong. Maybe we do wrong with that. They do changes, yeah, they do changes to freight elevators, as you could see. They do also changes in tractor beaming. And when it comes to efficiency, we actually welcome this new change. We need to take practice in tractor beaming now with the new one. But what we also can say is, for efficiency purpose, these changes they implemented, we can agree on, it speeds stuff up. That's a point. The other point will be, that is a counterpoint, it's not intuitive. This tractor beaming now, it's not intuitive, either with the big one or with the small one, it's not. And that is something that we say when you want to create something artificially, you need to make sure that it is intuitive. Because if it's intuitive, it basically mimics life. And when something mimics life, then you will have the best of what there is. And what we mean is, a lot of people believe in the theory of evolution, yeah. And the problem with the theory is, there is no proof of whatever the theory is. And you need to know the definition of, in order to either counter, argue the saying, and eliminate the theory because of the definition, or you can counter argue with what actually is. Yeah, we do not need to walk back and forth. So CIG, if you hear that, yeah, we showed open and publicly how much money we spent on this project, and we also publicly opened how much money we are willing to spend into this project. And of course we can say, yeah, well, it's selfish to spend that much money, because the only one thing that we want to is have a gameplay, have joy, have fun when we play Star Citizen, right? And the counter question would be, yeah, isn't that the point of video game? To have joy, to have fun, to willing to spend hours and money to have joy? Isn't that the actual point of a game itself? To have fun, to have joy? I mean, even if you do chess, a chess play against a good player, isn't that fun? Football, isn't a football play, a football game, fun and joyful? I mean, they make a lot of money, and the money, therefore, is no sign of quality. No. Money, when it comes to sport, is point of attention. Point of attention. That's why football has a lot of money. Formula 1 also has a lot of money involved because point of attention. Female beach volleyball has some money because point of attention. Female football, however, doesn't really have much attention, therefore not much money. So all your gender and rainbow people, you miss the point when it comes to gender in sport, when it comes to gender in jobs and payment and whatnot. You simply just didn't get it. Yeah, so but we are drifting. So we could say, did we speed up? What time do we have? Do we have a time? 20 minutes? No, time was... Do we still streaming? 20 minutes? Okay. Less than 20 minutes to come here, buy stuff, load stuff, and take enough. We also can say, okay, the ship is not fully loaded. That as well is a factor why we had been so fast. And maybe that would be the design gameplay. Maybe we just simply overdo everything, overthink everything. And when the ship says 180 SCU's cargo capacity, the ship is designed to load 180. Why do we constantly overload the ship? Yeah, because max in, max out. A lot of people would say min-maxing. No, there is no min-maxing. There's just max in, max out. So we refueled. We have 100. We can go back to Stanton. I mean, we don't have that much. We could cruise around here in Pyro and bring all the stuff to, where is the place, Saccharin. We can bring, what can we bring to Saccharin? Sunset Berries, Pit and Boo we had seen, Dagnus Wood. Should we go to Saccharin? Why not? We go to Saccharin. We don't go to Pirate. The only one thing that we could go to Pirate is fresh food. Nah, we shouldn't have loaded fresh food then. Saccharin. Yeah. Why we don't do contracts, why we are still not interested doing contracts. And so, because we didn't do this trading stuff like we usually do, because usually we start right at the night of the patch drop or the day after, we start buying boxes. Yeah, a lot of boxes, of course. And we didn't do that now. So that means we don't do trading in large scale, in mass trading for this patch. We are too late to start out with that. But we need to ask ourselves, what else do we do? Contracts? No. Redwin hauling in Stanton is gone, so no. What else can we do? We could do rep work on Covolex. Have a look on Covolex. We could make it up to at least senior to the rest of this page, but we are not interested in stupid contracts. The idea of doing contracts here, seeing it as a video game, doing contracts is basically doing missions, doing quests. Yeah, but we always say we are no video gamers. We do not play video games. What does that mean? When we do this contract, we are doing game loops. Yeah, we're running in circles. We do not go anywhere, and we don't do that. But if we would do the rep work, we would do that. And we thought, okay, what else is there that is repetitive but has some sort of meaningfulness? Yeah, because the problem with Star Citizen in general is, compared to actual video games that are out there, you cannot start Star Citizen, have a nice game session of an hour or maybe 2 hours, and then quit the game and you are satisfied. That is something that is just not possible. You can finish a game session after 30 minutes, you can finish a session after 1 hour, but you will not be satisfied at the end. You always need to have spent 2 hours and more to get that feeling of satisfaction at the end. You can say, okay, let's grind bounty hunters. We want to be a bounty hunter. So if you remember our videos that we did, when was it? In December maybe? Yeah, I think it was December. We put out a video in December that we wanted to be a bounty hunter, and that's why we bought this Intrepid. And now we are in guild members. When we see the stages, 1, 2, 3, 4. We are in stage 4 right now. 60 up to 70% done. And there are 3 more ahead of us. So we could argue that we are really in the middle. We passed a little bit over the middle. But we didn't really put attention to the grinding aspect of. We just did every now and then. But if we would grind, and that is something what we did with Covolex, when we actually rep grinding, it takes so long, it takes so much effort to get up and up and up a little bit. Let's see here, not relevant. Here as well, we only have junior contractor for Citizen for Prosperities, not the Avant, the normal one. And the reason why we are junior contractor is we tested them all out. All contracts. Not now, back then. And we would say 10 up to 15% had been successfully. We could have repeated those 15% contracts, repeat them over and over again in the hope that we grind reputation. No, we don't do that. Even when it's an early access, open for public testing, and even when we would do tickets issued in the issue consoles, from all those tickets we had opened so far, 2 had been considered. One of these 2 was classified as a duplicate to another ticket that already had the attention. And when it comes to spending money to this project, we do not fund this project. We do not fund game development. We do not fund progress because there is none. There are changes, certainly. But is there progress? And at the end, when you rewind to CitizenCon, this Genesis tech is a tech preview. we wouldn't say prototyping, but it's a tech preview. So what do we fund here? We fund an engine or technology for metaverse. And if you know what metaverse is for, then you know what we actually fund, our own grave. But why do we spend money? We do not spend money for the grave. Maybe we are just not aware of it. But the most people, either they are believers, dreamers. Yeah. And we would say we are the dreamers. We spend the money because we are dreamers. We have a certain idea when the Swamp Planet comes out. Not sure if that is Nix or something, but when the Swamp Planet comes out, we have the space dream. Imagine that. We have a space dream to build a little hut somewhere in the wetland, in the wetlands, where we hope nobody will find us. That is our space dream. And of course we do not pledge for this pioneer ship, because the pioneer ship is not a ship that you fly around with like the Asgard. No, the pioneer ship is built to build. And if you do not have the resources, you don't build anything. And if you do not have the network, people, crews, organizations that can bring the resources you need to build, create facilities, then you also don't build anything. You need to have a network. And this is something that the whole community needs to think about. I mean, of course, there are dreamers, and we would argue the dreamers aren't even the problem when it comes to base building. It's the griefers. And CRG actually should take care of the griefers, because if they don't do, they need to have instances. That's what they introduced. You need to isolate. What is that kind of ship? Ah, a pirate paint. So we did one mistake here. We didn't set the respawn point. If somebody comes and shoots us, we will wake up at Bajini Point. Yeah. This is something what we said in another video. Stay in your fucking ship when you open up the ramp. And what did we do? We didn't stay in the fucking ship when we open up the ramp. It's fucking bugged. These elevators are fucking bugged. We have absolutely no idea. We remember that there is listed Technos root. We know also Pit and Boo that we can deliver here. Oh, did you see that? No. We are back. We are back in, what was it? 324? The elevators behave like 1 year ago. Yeah, that is tricky to find the grid with the new tractor beam. Find the grid and actually drop the box where the grid is. New challenge, was accepted. They are still not here, we lost. So let's see. Can we they take fresh food? No golden midman. That's a fucking loss. What's going on? Nothing is going on actually. Nothing is going on here. As he hollers, put out a video with the title "Everything is bugged," and we couldn't agree more. We couldn't even agree more. And the question raises, what is the event? IAE is at the end of November. And we are looking for specific ships for our fleet. No Man's Crew. And seeing this Paganese, we really ask ourselves, would we have joy to have our ship of desire in an environment that is so fucking buggy like this is? I mean, don't get me wrong, trading worked and we made a lot of money with trading. It was a lot of effort, but it worked, and now it doesn't work anymore. Maybe you are not patient enough, but what we don't get it, we know systems. Somebody talking to us? We know systems, computer systems, and we know in software development, and we assume a video game is also a software, just a different kind of software. If you take the screwdriver on that particular mechanic, it can screw over in a completely different corner something. Although you haven't done anything in that particular corner, it doesn't work anymore. And that's why people CRG needs, the development house needs to have issue tickets from testers, from pro testers. Look at that. Over there is an issue that wasn't there before. And then, when you do this ticket, you as a tester, you as a ticket opener, you want to have a response on the ticket, and when the response of the ticket is archived, not enough upvotes, not enough contribution. That basically says, I mean, we totally get the point of prioritization. You need to prioritize the resources, the limited resources you have, to find out where do you want to put resources in to fix some stuff. And from all the tickets, except 2, we already know that CIG simply just doesn't care what we are doing here in the verse. And they will not fix the problems we discovered. Unless somebody else has to say. Unless somebody else has the same problem. Look, it looks like an NPC. It behaves like an NPC. But if we would be pirates, be sure, if that bugginess continues, we will not only become a pirate, we also become a griever. Because we suffer, and we want other people to suffer as well. Only one thing that you can verify that this is an actual NPC is to get up close. But if you go up close and you find out, damn, it's not an NPC, it's a player, you have to act fast. Damn fast. Yeah, we lost the first boxes. We need to tell Stinky that. Because he was the one who strictly checks the elevator before he puts boxes onto the elevator. And we said, no, they fixed it. Finally, they fixed it. It took them 1 year to fix that fucking bullshit. As soon as we said that, next patch. Setback of 1 year. 1 year of development, 1 year of experience. 9 months of working gameplay besides the bugged elevator surfaces, but that was basically everything that was not working. Yeah, what else did we do when we don't do contracts? What else do we do when not moving boxes? Yeah, well, there are plenty of stuff to do, but a lot of stuff you can't do solo. Almost can't do solo. Like the worm thing. The Apex Valakar. That is something we never did. A line in mine. It is possible to do yourself, but you need to be aware you will attract other players and you need to share the cave with them. But what you also need to be aware of, they can take you down. You did all the effort to open up the hole and somebody shows up. They will risk the crime set of free in order to get all the gems. And now there's the other snake, and the YouTubers, influencers, the shillers, and the content creators, they say you need to be a member to find out how you can do it solo. Okay, so what does that mean? We need to come back. The session ended way earlier than expected.